Match fixing, not racism, is the greatest threat to football, says Platini. From the 22nd of January 2013, Michel Platini believes match fixing poses the greatest threat to the future of football as the UEFA President reiterated his desire to switch the 2022 World Cup in Qatar to the winter, while acknowledging the continued spectres of racism and violence. For the Frenchman, throwing a game would sound the death knell for the sport. Speaking to French station RTL, Platini said racism and violence, it is a little beyond our control because it's not just about football but also affects the public. On the other hand, we're directly concerned by match fixing. For me, this is the greatest shame. If tomorrow we'll see a game and we already know the result, football is dead. Football is waging an ongoing war against racism, with Kevin Prince Boateng recently making a stand by walking off the field with his AC Milan teammates against Pro Patria because of racist chanting. Platini expressed his admiration, saying, "It's great, I really liked it, it was very good. I also called to congratulate Milan." Also, speaking about his wish to reschedule the timing of the World Cup in 2022, the former France midfielder added, "When I told the Emir of Qatar I would vote for them, I told him two things. First, I would fight for it to be in winter. It's 50 degrees in the summer in Qatar. If we do not change the date, there are countries that will never receive the World Cup." You know what, yeah? Some teams not receiving the World Cup because it's in the winter, because it's in the summer as opposed to their winter. I don't mean to be harsh. I don't mean to be uncouth or brazen in any way, but tough titty, said the kitty. Because at the end of the day, hey, it's one of them ones. If your country hasn't got the climate to host the tournament when it's supposed to be, tough titty. You can't have it. It's one of them. It's as simple as that. But moving the tournament around means you have to move the whole. You basically have to move football around. So it screws up a lot. So it's one of them ones. You have to move around so much stuff. You have to move around the calendar, and it all gets messy. So that's my personal opinion on it. But in terms of Platini saying that match fixing is the main threat to football, the greatest threat to football, I'm sorry, mate, but no. Match fixing doesn't seem to be that rife in football. Racism, however, seems to be a lot more rife than match fixing. Match fixing seems at the moment to be in little kind of pockets and areas of Europe and South America too. But at the end of the day, I mean, match fixing, there's no grey area. If you find out someone's been match fixing, boom, punish them, done. And Napoli getting docked 3 points, but then that got reversed because of the Court of Appeal. But it's a case of match fixing is a huge problem, is a problem, but racism's a lot bigger a problem for me. So that's, hey, I might be biased because of the colour of my skin. If I am, hey, it's my opinion. And the only opinion that doesn't matter is the one that goes unexpressed. And I will never sit down and not express my opinion. Speaking of that, Skypers, what do you think is the bigger problem? Match fixing or racism? Who wants to jump in on that first? All right, Tom Wood, feel free to jump in. What's the biggest problem, match fixing or racism?
Racism.
Why?
There's more of it, really.
I'm inclined to agree with you, to be perfectly honest.
Basically, like mostly every day you see it in like whatever level of football.
Well, I mean, racism doesn't necessarily have to be someone getting called the N-word at a football match. There's discrimination.
Usually it's mostly from the stands, really. Depends on whereabouts you sit in the stadium, though.
Yeah.
You can't really say it if you're sitting in the family bit, can you?
No, good point.
And there's like loads of young kids, and they're gonna start, and they'll start chanting it, and then then they'll get banned.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. And at the end of the day,
didn't like a 12 or 13-year-old Millwall fan get cake? I think he got taken to court or something. For being racist towards.
I think it was towards Marvin Swardell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that coming up recently. I think we mentioned it on a show. I think we did anyway. But it's one of them ones where I think racism is the bigger issue. Is very much the bigger issue.
You don't really get match fixing around as much as you usually do.
Still is there though. That's the thing. That spectre is still there. But,
yeah.
I mean, Mike Harniman, you said in the Skype chat. Well, what did you say? Articulate it to the people.
Yeah, I said that racism is as well. Just look at the Boateng incident at AC Milan a couple of weeks ago. And like, it's getting more and more now as well. It seems to be, I don't know if you get more idiots going to the games or what now. I don't know what it is, but it just seems to be that people that are going to the games think it's actually more acceptable to be using those sort of words and that sort of behaviour now for some sort of strange reason.
It's one of them ones, man. I mean, Jay. Yeah, it seems like the moronic minority seems to be growing at times, and that's the thing. Every club has a moronic minority. I mean, Jay Martin, you said something very interesting in the Skype chat as well.
Yep.
About what the bigger problem is. I mean, have at it, man. What do you reckon?
Well, I think by far it's racism. You don't really hear too much about match fixing outside Italy, whereas the racism's pretty much worldwide at the moment. So, yeah, on a scale, it pretty much dwarfs the match fixing, in my opinion.
No, I hear that. I mean, yeah.
And also, yeah, I did say about the anti-Semitic chanting as well. I mean, it doesn't, like you say, have to be the N-word or whatnot. I mean, there's, for instance, the ultras at Roma that do their chanting and stuff. It's just not good, man.
No, not at all. It's not good. It's not good by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, Eamon Salim said something quite interesting. Eamon, thank you for joining us, by the way, for the show. He said it's easier to send a message to clubs who match fix. Racism is so hard to deal with. So that's actually a very good point. It is hard to deal with, and there's so much grey area in that. I mean, match fixing, it's a case of, right, you two conspire to fix this match, right, done. Racism, a little more of a grey area. I mean, we've been discussing it for months on the show, how to deal with it, and there's never been one categoric answer that we've all settled on, whether that be us three co-hosts, whether that be the Skypers as well. It's one of them ones. There's so much. I mean, Mike Harniman, you said something quite interesting in the Skype chat. You may as well.
Yeah, I just said it's virtually impossible to deal with, because what can you do really? You can't just say, like, you know, we're going to have every game behind closed doors. There's actually no proper way of going around it. Because virtually everything that anyone seems to come up with, the idiots and the minority,
the moronic minority. I know you're looking for my scripted ad-lib.
They always seem to find a way around it.
Well, through kind of low-level chicanery.
When they're growing, when there's loads of them and they all seem to be growing each time, you know, and there seems to be more of them at every game, what can you do? Because you can't just stop every single person from going to the game.
No, that's a good point. That's the scary thing. How do you stop it? That's always the worry. How do you stop it? So it's one of them ones, man. But you know, Tom Wood. You know what, Tom Wood. Do you want to say what you've just said in the Skype chat? Because that's an interesting.
Yeah, CCTV will stop people because it's all on camera. Really, it's evidence.
True. I actually do agree with you on that point, but it's a case of, unless you've got microphones on people as well, it's going to be hard to pinpoint what people are saying. Just look at the John Terry situation, where a lot of people were like, he mouthed effing black whatever to Anton Ferdinand, but for some reason that evidence didn't seem to hold up in court. So, grey areas. Well,
they should put like a microphone, which is right in front of them, like in front of every single stand, and it would be like they have to track it.
apparently they've done that at Brighton and Hove Albion. Because there was a documentary a few months ago.
I've asked my mate, because he's a Brighton season ticket holder. So
apparently they do have that, and they do have a control centre there. So this is a point that's going to roll on. It's going to roll on.
Yep.